Donald Trump put on his savage hat last week. First off, go ahead and check out this fiery exchange he had with the governor of Maine.
I understand Maine. Is the Maine here, the governor?
It's about the trans sports thing.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect. So just to end this administration.
I love how, first off, he's like a comic. Is the governor of Maine here? Is the governor? Oh, there you are. There you are. And then, like, you're at this banquet dinner or breakfast or lunch or whatever time of the day it was, and you just have this fiery exchange in front of everybody else with the governor of Maine. Just call her out right there and bully her. We'll see you in court. Enjoy life after being governor because I don't think you're going to get reelected. Savage. Savage. Speaking of savage, here's what he said at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee. They had a conference. They had their yearly annual conference, whatever you want to call it. And I can't believe he went here, but go ahead and check this one out.
Sleepy Joe. Got to stay with Crooked. He had one ability that I didn't have. He could do something that I couldn't do. I don't say that because he was a horrible golfer. Remember, he challenged me during the debate to a golf match? He said, I'm a 6 handicap. I said, you're not a 36 handicap. He said, he's a 6. And then he said, well, I'm 8. Remember? I said, that was quick. Picked up 2 strokes. He said, no, I'm an 8. But he's not a 36 handicap. But he had one ability that was amazing. He could go with cameras on him, television, fake news on him, probably because he knows they wouldn't cover it badly. You know, they covered him as well as you can cover him. How the hell can you cover the guy well? But he had this incredible ability. He could barely walk in the sand. Somebody thought he looked great in a bathing suit. And he'd walk in the sand pulling a thing that weighed about 6 ounces. You know those aluminum? See, aluminum's very good. It's meant for children and very old people to lift, right? So he would put it down, and he'd put it down, and he'd fall into it, and he'd immediately fall asleep in front of the media. I could never do that. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. I could never do it. No, he was Sleepy Joe, but he was crooked as hell. You know, there's no question. He was a sleepy, crooked guy. Terrible, terrible president. He was the worst president in the history of our country. I don't care, I'll say it. Jimmy Carter passed away recently, and he passed away a happy man. He was a happy man when he passed away because he said that it's not even close. Joe was the worst, and believe me, I have to clean up the mess. I'm cleaning up the mess, and it is a mess on the border with inflation. Could go over every single thing he touched turned to shit, okay? Everything. It's true.
I mean, he's not even kicking him while he's down at this point. This is called pissing on someone's grave. You beat Biden in a debate so bad that he had to drop out of the race, and then you beat his vice president. What is this? 3 months after you beat his vice president, like 9 months after the election or after the debate, you're still just talking shit, saying Jimmy Carter finally died knowing he was no longer the worst president. It just takes a random, just senseless violence side swipe at Jimmy Carter as collateral damage. He is the greatest comedian of all time. He really is. And it's the way he does it and the setting that makes it so effective. So you're going to see, so he's got some wins piling up, despite how critical I've been of the administration. And I don't necessarily think the Epstein thing is Trump's fault, by the way. I think there are people under him that are causing some of these problems. But it's the you vote for the whole administration, right? We knew who all we were getting. Nonetheless, they've had some wins. So they are going to lay off another several thousand IRS employees. They're also going to be closing 120 offices, IRS offices in the U.S. I cannot wait for the Spirit Halloween to open up there. I can't wait. The Spirit Halloween IRS edition. I'm here for it. I will shop there. Big fan of it. But as it turns out, employees of the Biden IRS leaked the taxpayer information of over 400,000 Americans to dark web hackers, including Donald Trump. It says the IRS's admission, this is from GOP House Judiciary Committee, IRS's admission confirms the committee's suspicion and recent reports that show the scope of the leak was much broader than what the Biden administration's IRS initially led the public to believe. In May 2024, spokesman stated that more than 70,000 taxpayers were affected. They found out it was actually 405,000 taxpayers. So, I mean, this is a reckless organization that really... So, they leak a bunch of our shit. 70,000 people, not a lot compared to the grand scheme of total taxpayers in this country, but that's still 70,000 people who are now going to be put through this unprecedented amount of stress that could have been avoidable. So they leaked 70,000, and it turns out they lied about it and covered it up. It was actually, almost 6 times that? Almost 6 times that. They continued to try to cover it up. And then they have the nerve to sit there and tell you that they shouldn't be fired for that. That the people who will ruin an old lady's financial situation because she made one mistake on her taxes can just quote unquote, accidentally leak 400,000 people's information to dark web hackers and have no consequences for it. When I talk about the level of apathy they have, when I talk about the level of disdain that some of these people who work in the federal government have for us, this is the shit I'm talking about here. They really think there shouldn't be consequences for this. They think this is something they can cover up because for the longest time, it has been. It's been something they can get away with without consequences. And that's coming to an end. We've got cuts at the Pentagon. Cuts at the Pentagon, and the liberals who spent the last 25 years yelling about how we need to make cuts to the Pentagon are finding new ways to defend it. How dare you cut the Pentagon? At a time like this, you could never do it. This is 8D chess. He's dancing circles around them, making them look stupid. Cuts to the Pentagon has been a staple mark of the left's agenda for decades in this country. Decades, since the Reagan era. Prior to that, honestly, decades. It's been a staple mark of their policy. A central piece of the left-wing ideology in the United States. Trump cuts the Pentagon, all of a sudden they do a 180 on it. They are his dancing monkey at this point. How far? He should just try to see how far he can take this. How far can he take this? You know what he should do? He should come out and just issue a executive order, national proclamation tomorrow, March 1st, Sunday, is National Hitler Was a Bad Guy Day. And they'll go, no, you can't do it. He built the Volkswagen. Hitler, the Autobahn.
There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler.
He should just see how far he can take this. Come out and go, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. And this would be like his Peggy Hill moment. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and slavery was a bad thing. See how they challenge him on that. That slavery shit we did back in the 1800s was messed up, man. We never should have done that. See how they come after him for that. Just make blatant, obvious statements that you'd have to be a monster to disagree with and see what they say. We've also got border crossings are at their lowest amount since April of 2017. So, for context, in December of 2023, you had estimated 264,000 illegal border crossings at the U.S. southern border. That's right. I said December of 2023, not all of 2023. That was 1 month. Biden's average was approximately 167,000 per month. Last month, we had 15,700. They're shipping them away, and they're not coming back because the message has been sent, you don't come here illegally. That's finished. Stop coming here. We're done. We're done taking you in. If you're not going to come in legally, we don't want you here. We'll send you right back to where you came from. And it's working. People don't want to come over here and live in constant fear that they're going to be shipped away. Good. If you're not willing to go through the process to get here legally, we don't want you here. You can seek asylum. There's a process for that. You can try to become a citizen. There's a lot of different things. I'm not saying we shut off the world to foreigners. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if you're not going to come here legally, we don't want you here. Now, if you remember that was a good one. That was a good one. It was masterful. But if you remember in the debate, Kamala Harris tried to make the bogus claim that Donald Trump killed their border security bill that supposedly was a bipartisan effort that everybody agreed on, and Trump pressured a bunch of Republicans. Trump wasn't in office, so irrelevant, but he pressured a bunch of Republicans not to vote for it, and they claimed that they have no proof that this happened, but they claimed that he did it, and the reason he supposedly did it was because he knew it would help the Democrats in the election if they got the border under control. And Trump said, you don't need to pass a law to do it. Border patrol and border security is an executive function. You don't need to go through Congress to do it. Now, you do need to go through Congress to make it permanent, but he said you don't need to go through Congress to do it. Guess what? He hasn't gone through Congress yet. They haven't made these laws permanent. He's just actually secured the damn border, which means that it's like I said, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had the resources at their disposal to do this all along, but they never did. We have to ask, why did they never do it? Did they not do it because they didn't care, or was it on purpose? Were they intentionally trying to create a crisis in this country to burn it to the ground, a la Cloward Piven strategy? What do you think? Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.